We have put this short information film together to introduce you to the functions, features and operations of your NIBE heat pump. In this film, as well as talking to residents who have them in their homes and use heat pumps on a daily basis, we'll also cover some common functions and basic system care for the end user.
Hello, I'm Mike Proudfoot. I'm the maintenance manager from Your Housing Group. We're here today at the Hollies in Cheshire to talk about the newly installed central heating system. These are 2-bedroom apartments in this newly completed estate, completed about 2 to 3 months ago, primarily for shared ownership, which allows first-time buyers to get their foot on the property ladder. In this particular apartment, the model that we've fitted is the NIBE F470. That provides all the heating, hot water and heat recovery necessary for this apartment. We're really excited about having these systems fitted into the apartments. The green credentials are second to none, they are easy to use, and we're hoping for a saving in fuel for our residents.
I moved into this house in Brigsley about 6 months ago now, in July of last year. When we first looked at the heating system, it looks quite complex and it's going to be difficult to use, but in comparison to the other systems I've used in previous properties, it's much easier to use, and obviously if we're doing a bit for the environment as well, then that all helps as well. So the experience has been great. As well as being easy to use, the other benefits of the system are that we don't seem to get any cold spots. There's no drafts. The hot water is always readily available. I mean, we've had times where we've had 2 or 3 baths within a space of a few hours, and there's always been plenty of hot water there to use as well. So yeah, really good, really good.
If you look on the system, it tells you what the temperature is outside to inside, so it gauges it that way. And whereas our old property, you're more or less messing around with it all the time, regulating it. Where with this, it all sort of flows itself.
What we've also noticed about this system is that the temperature is very constant throughout the day and night. So with other types of heating systems, you get your peaks and troughs when you've got your radiators on full blast and then off. With this one, the radiators are never on full. The underfloor heating never seems to be overly hot. It's just always at a nice ambient temperature. Even last week I got up in the middle of the night, and normally in a normal house you'd be expecting it to be freezing cold, but it was just the same temperature as in the day. So I mean, I'm no expert on how it actually works, but it just seems to be fantastic. So.
We have a family of 8, and constantly every day I'm doing a load of washing, and basically I put it on the clothes area and let them dry that way. And I noticed from doing it in this house to my last house, in my last house my windows were getting steamed up and everything. In this house, because you've got all the air vents, no windows steam up, you don't feel damp, you know, it's lovely.
For my job, I work in the property industry as a damp specialist, so I'm quite familiar with things like condensation and damp and mould forming. With this system, because it's changing the air much more often and more rapidly, it's removing any moisture that you produce in cooking, cleaning, bathing, that type of thing. It's not allowing the moisture to settle on windows and walls. It's being replaced by the warm air of the system, so no chance of any unhealthy air. The air is always fresh and free of any moisture, so that's another benefit really. I would understand why people were perhaps a little bit sceptical of this type of system, with it being very new and different technology to what we're used to, but once you've got your head around how it works and you don't have to be changing settings and dials and turning things on and off constantly daily, then it's much more easier to use. If I got the chance to recommend this system to anybody, I would tell them to sort of snap it up with both hands, because we found it much more beneficial to our lifestyle in that, like I said, not only the cost point of view, but the ease of use of the whole system, that we find it absolutely fabulous. So I certainly recommend it to anybody.
The way your exhaust air heat pump is designed to work is to extract air from the wet rooms, such as the kitchen and bathroom, through a ducting system back to the heat pump, where the heat pump extracts the energy from this air in order to provide further heating and hot water for the property. Air which the ventilation system extracts from the wet rooms will remove steam from the bathroom and kitchen, therefore relieving the necessity to open windows. Opening windows can reduce the amount of energy that a heat pump can extract from the inside air. therefore can potentially lead to a reduction in the efficiency of the system. Because your heat pump works at a lower temperature than a typical gas boiler, it is normal for your radiators not to feel overly hot. The thermostatic control on your radiator has a range of settings, from being completely off, the white circle, to being fully on, the black circle, with varying temperature settings in between. The normal setting for your everyday living areas, such as the living room, dining room and kitchen, is setting 3. For rooms which you use less and require less heat, such as your bathroom and bedrooms, setting 2 is recommended. Although your heat pump requires very little maintenance, we do advise that once a month you check that all the ventilation ducts are free of dust and are not blocked in any way. If you do need to clean any of the ventilation units, simply use a duster to clean the surface, or remove the unit covers to wash and clean them more thoroughly before replacing them back into their housings. Depending on your system, you will have 1 or 2 vents bringing clean air in from the outside, and 3 to 4 internal vents mounted in the ceiling in different rooms. These vents are an essential part of your heating system and circulate air through the heat pump and around your property. To make sure that the correct ceiling vents stay in the correct rooms, we suggest that you clean each vent separately to avoid mixing them up. It is also essential that the settings of the individual vents are not tampered with or swapped between rooms, as these have been preset and balanced by the installer for them to work to their best efficiency. We'll now look at the controls of the F470 and show you just how easy the unit is to use and look after. On the front panel of the heat pump, you can see a small window display, where in this example you can see at a quick glance the indoor and outdoor temperatures, the temperature of the water in the cylinder, and the clock. There is also an indicator light below the display window, which should be green in colour. Green means that the heat pump is operating normally. Upon opening the stainless steel door, you will see the full display screen. The display is segmented into 4 portions. The first segment shows the indoor and outdoor temperature. The second segment shows the hot water temperature. The third segment shows the info icon, and the fourth segment shows an illustration of the heat pump. Below the green light is an OK button, which is used as an enter button, and an arrow button, which is used to return to the previous screen or go back when within a specific menu. The jog wheel allows you to select an option from the screen. The main switch has 3 positions: the on position, the off position, and rescue mode. On all of the menu screens, you will see a little question mark icon to the bottom right. If you select this, a small help guide will appear for the particular menu which you're in at the time. To return out of any menu, press the back arrow button on the control panel. The time and date menu allows you to alter these settings. Here you can also choose to have a 24-hour or a 12-hour clock, and there are different choices for date layouts. In the language menu, you can set the heat pump to display a language other than the default English setting. Simply scroll through the different languages until you reach the one you require, and press the OK button. We will now use the jog wheel to select the hot water menu and press OK. Then use the jog wheel to select the comfort mode option and press OK. Here, in this menu, you have 3 choices: economy, normal, and luxury. The economy setting and the normal setting run very similarly, except that the normal setting has a slightly hotter temperature. Normal is the factory setting. The luxury mode allows for a temporary hot water boost, but will rely slightly on the heat pump's immersion heater for this extra heat. This unit also allows you to set the luxury mode on a timer for a temporary hot water boost. To do this, select the Temporary Lux setting and press OK. Then select the period of time which you would like the extra hot water boost to operate for using the jog wheel and the OK button. Here we have selected a 6-hour period. After 6 hours, the hot water setting will return to normal. To cancel the hot water boost, simply select Off from the menu. Press the back button to exit the hot water menu. As the heat pump is designed to run constantly and never turned off completely, there is a feature which allows the unit to be turned down to save energy, for example when you're in bed or out at work. This is called setting back the unit and is done automatically through a timed schedule. To set a timed schedule, you need to open the front panel and enter the Indoor Climate menu by pressing the OK button. Then turn the jog wheel to select the Scheduling option and press OK. Please note that the scheduling only applies to the heating and not the ventilation, which is only used by the installer to initially set up the system. Select Heating by pressing the OK button. You will see that there are 3 different schedule modes. You may decide to use one for nighttime, one for daytime, and one for evening. In this example, we will set a schedule that will turn the heat pump down during the night and start it up again in the morning. Firstly, use the jog wheel to select All and press OK. This will set the same time period for every day of the week. Then rotate the jog wheel to select the desired start time. Here we will select 2300 hours or 11 PM at night, and then press the OK button. Next, use the jog wheel to select the stop time. Here we will select 0500 hours or 5 AM in the morning and press the OK button. The final setting tells the heat pump by how much to lower or increase the flow temperature during the scheduled period. Depending on how your unit has been set up by the installer, you will see either the temperature in degrees or as a plus and minus value. If your unit has been set to plus and minus values, each unit that you select will change the room temperature by roughly 1 degree. So if you select -2, the room temperature will drop by roughly 2 degrees during the scheduled period. In all cases, care must be taken to ensure that the room temperature does not drop any lower than 17 degrees or be raised any higher than 27 degrees during the scheduled period, as this means that the heat pump may need to use an additional heat boost from the immersion heater to reach the setting, and this may result in an increase in your energy consumption. We therefore recommend a setting no lower than -2, or about 17 degrees, or any higher than +2, which is about 27 degrees. Once you have selected the setback value, press the OK button. You will now see that the unit has set the same time periods and setback value for each day of the week. To set an additional schedule, simply rotate the jog wheel to cycle through the settings for Schedule 1 until the Schedule 2 mode lights up. Then select the activated icon using the jog wheel and press the OK to activate this schedule. A tick will appear over the icon. Then press OK and enter the start, finish and setback for Schedule 2, for example a daytime setting. Repeat again for Schedule 3, which may be an evening setting. If you wish to set different times for each day, simply use the jog wheel to cycle through the days. Then press OK to select the particular day which you would like to set the time for, and enter the start time and finish time and setback value. Should you wish to raise or lower the normal room operating temperature, use the jog wheel to select the Indoor Climate menu. Then select the top submenu called Temperature. You will see a temperature scale, which you raise and lower by first pressing the OK button, then use the jog wheel to select the temperature, and then press the OK button again to confirm your selection. Depending on how your unit has been set up by the installer, you will see either the temperature in degrees or as a plus and minus value. If your unit has been set to plus and minus values, each unit that you see will change the flow temperature by 2.5 degrees. So if you select -2, the flow temperature will drop by 5 degrees. 21 degrees is considered to be a normal room temperature. We do not recommend setting this temperature above 24 degrees, as this will make the heat pump work very hard to reach this temperature. And as a result, the unit will be less efficient and more costly to run. When you are intending to be away from your property for an extended time, for example when you go away on holiday, it is a good idea to schedule the heat pump to enter a hibernation state, so that the unit does not waste energy heating your house and hot water whilst you are not there. To set the holiday mode, you will need to enter the heat pump menu on the main screen. Select Holiday Setting using the jog wheel and OK to confirm. The first thing to do is activate this setting by pressing OK. You will see a tick appear next to the word Activated. Using the jog wheel, select Start Date and press OK. Then enter each part of the start date of your holiday period using the jog wheel and OK button. Then use the jog wheel to move down to the stop date and press OK. Here you need to enter the date of the day before you come back from holiday, so that the unit has time to build back up to normal operating temperature for when you arrive home. We'll now set the hibernation settings for your holiday period. Use the jog wheel to select Desired Room Temperature and press OK to enter this setting. Then use the jog wheel to lower the temperature to 18 degrees and press OK. If your unit has been set to plus and minus values rather than degrees, you will need to enter a value of -2. Next, select Hot Water Comfort and set the value to Economy. Finally, select Ventilation and set the value to Normal. The holiday setting is now activated. Press the back button to exit the menu. The filter in the top of your heat pump needs to be cleaned and checked every 3 months. The heat pump will display a notification saying Filter Alarm. This is not an alarm as such, but is merely notifying you that the filter needs cleaning. The F470 has 2 filters, which are both located behind the top service panel. The white filter membrane can easily be cleaned by simply vacuuming the filter membrane with any conventional domestic vacuum cleaner. To clear down the filter alarm icon once you have cleaned and checked the filters, switch the heat pump off for approximately 10 seconds, and then switch it back on again. The heat pump will then automatically restart. Running down the left-hand side of the heat pump, you will see a copper pipe with a black rubber device somewhere in the middle. You should not see water flowing through this rubber device, but in the event that you do, you will need to contact your maintenance engineer or housing association and notify them of this, as this could mean that you have too much pressure in your system. If your heat pump ever encounters a problem, the green indicator light below the display will change to red. If this light does change to red, then you'll need to contact your maintenance engineer or your housing association. On the display panel, along with the red light, it will show an alarm notification. You can open this notification to see what type of problem has occurred within the heat pump. In the event that you do have to contact your maintenance engineer or housing association, you will need to quote your heat pump serial number, so it's worth noting this down before you ring. Your serial number is located at the bottom of the heat pump on a sticker that contains a 14-digit number and starts with the letters SN. If you require further operating instructions regarding your heat pump or room thermostat, please refer to the user manuals that have been left with your unit. Alternatively, you can visit www.nibe.co.uk, where you can download copies of the user manuals.